India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will shortly inaugurate the 8th edition of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. This is the first time that the summit is being hosted in South Asia. One of the big faces at the summit is, of course, the US President Donald Trump's advisor and daughter, Ivanka Trump, who arrived in Hyderabad earlier this morning. She's leading a high-powered delegation from the United States for the three-day event, which will focus on women entrepreneurs. She took to Twitter to say, quote, "Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be in Hyderabad, India for GES 2017, end quote. As many as 2,500 security personnel have been deployed for the mega event. The theme for this year's summit is Women First, Prosperity for All. The summit is expected to attract around 1,500 entrepreneurs globally, with more than 400 alone from the United States. About 500 Indian entrepreneurs are also expected to attend the event. And the US President's senior advisor and his daughter, Ivanka Trump, is leading that delegation from the United States in Hyderabad for the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which starts today. Ivanka is also an entrepreneur herself. She talked about the upcoming summit and her interests in India. This is her first visit to India in the official capacity. She spoke about the Entrepreneurship Summit's theme, Women First, and the support needed by women entrepreneurs. She said, quote, "I aim for GES 2017 to be a global celebration that elevates the importance of empowering women entrepreneurs. When women do better, communities and countries thrive," end quote. She also talked about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's efforts on expanding economic opportunities, saying, quote, "One of the main global challenges is creating economic opportunities. Prime Minister Modi is focused on expanding economic opportunities for people of India, particularly its women," end quote. She also said that she has for long admired India's history and culture and hoped that it would continue to see progress, particularly in respect to women. And Ivanka Trump, the senior advisor to the US President Donald Trump, is in Hyderabad for the three-day Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is in its 8th edition. She is going to inaugurate the event. So here's a look at her itinerary for today itself. In fact, she's meeting with the Indian External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and has called on the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. The summit, of course, starts at 4 o'clock IST and will carry on till 10 minutes to 6 p.m. She'll be eating dinner at the Falaknuma Palace with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's hosting a special dinner this evening for the senior advisor to the White House, Ivanka Trump. With that, it's a wrap on her itinerary for today. But remember, the summit continues tomorrow as well, and Ms. Trump is going to be part of deliberations tomorrow as well. And at the invitation of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Ivanka Trump is leading the American delegation at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. India has, of course, rolled out the red carpet, and every detail is in place to make sure that her first visit to India in official capacity remains memorable. Take a look.
As daughter and advisor to President Donald Trump, Ivanka landed in the wee hours of the morning on Tuesday in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad. A grand welcome awaited her. From the airport, she directly drove to the Grand Trident Hotel, where she'll be staying for the next 2 days for the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is themed Women First, Prosperity for All, which will include over 1,500 entrepreneurs, most of them women from over 150 countries. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will meet with Ivanka Trump at the Hyderabad International Convention Center, where Ivanka Trump will also be taking part in the plenary session of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. Later in the evening, along with over 150 dignitaries, Ivanka Trump will be heading to the iconic Falaknuma Palace of Hyderabad, where a special 5-course meal has been prepared to be served at the Heritage 101-chair dining hall of the palace. On Wednesday morning, Ivanka Trump will meet with the US delegates over breakfast at the Trident Hotel. And later in the day, Ivanka Trump is expected to meet and interact with other delegates at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit at the GICC. By 5:30 p.m, Ivanka will return to the Trident Hotel from the GICC and will fly out to Dubai at 9:20 p.m. Bureau Report, WION.
And WION Sumit Chaturvedi is joining us on the phone line from Hyderabad itself. He's there, of course, to attract the GES for us. Sumit, good evening. Give us an idea of how things are going in Hyderabad. We believe that it's almost time for the summit itself to kick off.
Well, absolutely, Aisha. The summit is going to start at the minute now. It's already 4:30 the time that Ivanka Trump advisor to the US President Trump and his daughter to arrive here along with PM and Modi. We already have a business, and here we will see a lot of architecture that is clearly pointing towards the dignitaries arriving any movement now. The big question is what kind of entrepreneur talks or startup talks these two big leaders will have. That's what is the big question in the mind of everybody here. So a lot of the issues will be discussed. They're already discussing here in Hyderabad.
All right, stay with me, Sumit. We're just trying to fix that audio connection with you. In the meantime, for those of you who are joining us this evening, we are, of course, focused on the Global Entrepreneurship Summit 2017, which India is hosting this time around in the IT hub, Hyderabad, in India's south. The main big ticket event, of course, is going to kick off very shortly. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended the invitation to the US President Donald Trump's senior advisor and daughter Ivanka Trump earlier this year when he was visiting the United States. So Ms. Trump is finally here. She is in Hyderabad, arriving there earlier this morning, and she's leading a high-powered delegation for the three-day summit. Now there are more than 1,500 people expected to take part in the summit itself. Sumit Chaturvedi with us on the phone line from Hyderabad. Sumit, what exactly, for those of us who are uninitiated to the importance of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit's a real takeaway, what exactly is its main purpose? How exactly does it benefit both the United States, India and other participating countries?
Well, Aisha, two things it does. First, it brings India and the US startup community together. That is one of the big takeaways from this event that will happen. Second, it also gives empowerment to women when it comes to really, pushing for entrepreneurship or startups. The women here, especially, are in good numbers. They are going to push their ideas, going to strike conversations, and maybe pitch their ideas to prospective investors. That's what is going to happen here. That is what is already happening since morning. Today is the first day of three-day visit of three-day GES, which will end on 30th this month. So we are awaiting the arrival of Ivanka Trump, which can happen any moment now.
Absolutely. And what do you think is going to be the big tickets for women attendees? Is it the theme of the summit that says women first, prosperity for all, or do you think it's a star attraction in the form of Ivanka Trump?
Well, it's half of both ways, Aisha. Ivanka Trump, though, is a big attraction, and possibly for her that many delegates have come here. But on the other hand, delegates are also sharing their success stories or failure stories with which they are learning a lot. They are learning a lot in the sense of what things to avoid or what things to adopt when starting up a venture. So the whole overall, there's an atmosphere of optimism here, and we all are awaiting Ivanka Trump's arrival any moment now with PM Modi, and everybody's awaiting what they have to say, what is in their mind, what is in their heart that could come out on this stage, and then really would attract the investors and in fact the startup systems to go in India.
What is the scope, Sumit, let's say for people who are arriving from outside of India, what's the scope for them to sort of expand their business through this summit? Is there a lot of people-to-people interaction that's been planned so that a more on-ground business can be pursued?
Well, Aisha, here the first thing, delegates, mainly women, and they are here to share the experiences and share their ideas. And they have been seen since morning. The different sessions are taking place. And in these sessions, every dignitary is sharing his or her own experience. Well, that is something which is at the mind of all people who are present here. 1,500 dignitaries, half of them, more than half of them are women. And Ivanka Trump would be starting to talk any moment now. That's one big thing which will coming out of there, and we are looking out for it.
Fair enough. Sumit, also if I can ask you, since you're with us right now and we are expecting Ivanka Trump to kick off proceedings at the GES, how exactly are people looking at her this time around, especially those that you've interacted with? Are they looking at her as President Trump's daughter, as his advisor, or a businesswoman in her own right?
Well, she is a part of all of that. She is going to come as first entrepreneur because it's the Entrepreneurship Summit, and she's targeting herself, the Ivanka brand, as the entrepreneur brand. So she happens to be the President Trump's daughter, but what is she trying to push here is Ivanka Trump's brand, and she's no doubt that she's the biggest star power which people have come here to see and to hear her talk. What big ideas or stories she has to tell, and along with PM Modi, she will share the dais here, and thereafter we'll hear whether they are going to announce something big or they are going to have a general chat or discussion over startups, entrepreneurs in India.
Fair enough. Sumit Chaturvedi, thanks very much for joining us and sharing that perspective with us. We'll, of course, get back to you as things take off there in Hyderabad. But for now, thanks for that update. In fact, my colleague WION Sumit Chaturvedi has been in Hyderabad already for pretty much the whole morning. He managed to catch up with some of the women delegates from Palestine, Turkey and the Congo. And they chatted up about how exactly they are looking at the summit and how they think they stand to benefit from it. Listen in.
How do you find the GES Hyderabad? How have you found it so far?
I think I see that from my website and I have invitation from India. I am very glad to participate in this summit. I'm from Palestine, Shireen Allan my name. Our organization is Anata Cultural Center, related with the women to empowerment in the cultural heritage. But I care now with the technology, with the graphics, with me, like how to design these crafts to promote this globally.
Ivanka Trump is going to be the main person over here. How do you think she can contribute to overall women empowerment through entrepreneurship?
Actually, we have to encourage women to be in this kind of summit and conference so they can talk more, they can speak about what they want and to be more out to the world, and to get encouraged for this, they need this kind of gathering to be better.
Talk to us about some ecosystem of startups in Africa and what challenges you are facing over there.
Okay, in Africa in general, in particular in my country, you need to know something particular is just that women are 80% of business. Private and small business are owned by women, and yet women are still under the soil of poverty as of 60% of them, which is huge compared to the percentage of entrepreneurs. The problem we are facing is that women don't have a role model or a mentor to help them grow. So a lot of female business stay very down. It's so small and it doesn't develop. There's no mentorship, there's no framework, there's no help, and what about the fund? Nobody, it's like it's almost impossible for a woman entrepreneur to get found.
So how did you come here and what are you expecting out of GES Hyderabad?
Well, we came here to amplify the United States and India's co-hosting of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit this year. It's the 8th summit that we have done, and it's a very big deal, important to us that we're doing it with India now. India is a great partner, both economically, both in security relationship, and to be able to have the President's advisor, Ivanka Trump, here celebrating women's empowerment and women's entrepreneurship is very special. So we really want to amplify this effort.
And the theme is Women First, Prosperity for All. So how do you see that, where all we can learn from US in that direction, and where all India can learn from US and US can learn from India when it comes to Women First and Prosperity for All?
Well, I think that both India and the US are really support women's employment in the entrepreneurial sector as the president's advisor has said, when 50% of a country's population is involved in the economy, then the economy becomes more prosperous. We know that women reinvest much of what they earn back towards education, back towards their societies. And for that reason, the theme of this year's summit is Women First, Prosperity for All.
And how do you see Ivanka Trump contributing to the cause of entrepreneurship in India?
Well, she is an entrepreneur herself. She's a wonderful symbol of what a working mother can do, of how much she can contribute to our economy. We're very excited to have her here.
All right, thank you, Helena.
Thank you very much.
And these are live shots coming in from the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is, of course, underway in Hyderabad. A number of people there, as you can see, have gathered for the GES 2017. This is the first time that India is hosting the summit. In fact, it's the first time that South Asia is hosting the GES. Now, my colleague Sumit Chaturvedi is, of course, in Hyderabad, getting us the very latest from GES 2017. Here's a look at a report he filed from Hyderabad a little earlier today. Take a look.
We are at Global Entrepreneurship Summit Hyderabad 2017, and this time the theme is Women First and Prosperity for All. And as we can see all around, the main theme is going with the women participation. And almost 50% of delegates here are women from different countries, including Palestine, Egypt, and even Congo, and different parts of the world. This is for the first time the GES 2017 is taking place in South Asia, and they've chosen Indian IT hub of Hyderabad for this. Ivanka Trump, the special advisor to US President Donald Trump, and his daughter also is going to participate here, and also PM Modi of India will be a participant here. So a lot of themes have been decided, including entertainment, culture, media, IT, telecom, and the overall discussions that will take place will be around the entrepreneurship culture, ecosystem of startups in India, and the challenges they are facing. Also, the problem associated with the startup ecosystem in India will be discussed as well. There are a lot of dignitaries who will be coming. The major ones are MD and CEO of ICICI Bank, Chanda Kochhar, the Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, Defence Minister of India, also Srima Swaraj, External Affairs Minister of India.
Live visuals from Hyderabad, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit 2017. The Prime Minister is there as part of the three-day mega event. And of course, the star attraction for most people who've gathered for the summit, whose theme, remember, is Women First, Prosperity for All, is of course the United States President Donald Trump's advisor and daughter Ivanka Trump. She is accompanying Prime Minister Modi as they make their way across to the venue of the summit itself. They're going to be getting things in motion. They're going to be kicking off the summit very shortly. We're just leading up to the inaugural speech from both Prime Minister Modi and, of course, Ivanka Trump. Live visuals on your screen from Hyderabad. The push, of course, for women entrepreneurs center stage this time around. The aim, of course, to bring together women entrepreneurs from across the world to discuss the challenges they face in the startup business as entrepreneurs in their own right, and how exactly the ease of doing business can be achieved better. Now, remember, my colleague Sumit Chaturvedi caught up with some of the women who've come as far as from Palestine, from Turkey, from Congo, and they all seem to share the same idea that this forum is extremely exciting for them as women entrepreneurs, and that they look forward to sharing their experiences. Live visuals on your screen once again. The Indian External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, who is there, as is the Indian Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Number of people, of course, coming to hear Ivanka Trump, who wears a number of hats. She is the President's daughter, a senior advisor, and a very successful businesswoman in her own right. She's a former model. She owns businesses that operate in various parts of the world. Currently, of course, she is part of the senior White House staff. She's a senior advisor to her father, the US President Donald Trump. 1,500 delegates have arrived in Hyderabad to take part in this forum. 400 of those people alone are from the United States, so indicates a huge interest in India as far as American entrepreneurs and startup businesses go. And on the phone line with me is my colleague Archit Seshadri, who's also in Hyderabad tracking the developments for us. Archit, good evening. It's a big day for India, of course, hosting the GES for the first time around. What do you think is the big sort of ticket at the summit this time around? Is it just about Ivanka Trump or far more than that?
Yeah, good afternoon, Aisha. Certainly, Ivanka Trump is one of the main attractions here for many of the attendees and many of the visitors. In fact, earlier on when we were coming in today, we would see so many posters all around the city of Hyderabad, all the way from the airport to the area where we at with the Hyderabad Convention Center. There were a few posters with the Telangana government welcoming Prime Minister Modi, but honestly, it was mostly Ivanka Trump. And I think the whole theme of Women First, Prosperity for All has resonated well. And certainly there's a topic that is close to many entrepreneurs around the world. So this is something that many people here are excited. There is a heavy media presence, a huge amount of security, both inside and on the roads. And it also looks like Hyderabad at this point has had a huge beautification project in terms of the roads leading up to the convention center. It almost looks like you are in a very different part of India. So many different signs and posters really welcoming and promoting the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. And again, for the first time, Ivanka actually spoke out and said that she's excited to empower women, something that she has advocated and dedicated for a long time in her career. And one of the first times this summit, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, has more than 50% of the attendees who will be women. So that is one of the key takeaways. And they also wanted to reiterate, the organizers, saying that this isn't really specifically about bringing in investors. It is really a platform to create that conversation for startups and figure out the challenges, not only here, but in other parts of the world on the ease to do business. So those are certainly some of the key takeaways. Of course, tomorrow and Thursday will be the bigger events with the workshops, the panels, and all that. This is just a kickoff as Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates this event. Of course, if you remember, he invited Ivanka Trump when we were in Washington, D.C., inside the White House. We were there when we heard it from Modi himself when he invited Ivanka Trump. And now, of course, that is happening. It is to fruition. So certainly a lot of excitement and buzz here in Hyderabad.
Right. And through what mechanism, Archit, if I can ask you, does the summit really hope to promote women entrepreneurs, not just today, but across the three-day event?
Absolutely. I think that is one of the key takeaways, the key pushes in terms of really finding a way to build and get more women to enter the workforce, and specifically entrepreneurship. That is one of the themes this year, saying that if women are able to do this, it really is a win for all. Women first, prosperity for all. One of the key messages, in fact, a lot of the signs are also in pink. We can safely assume, again, for women empowerment. And I think that's one of the reasons why Ivanka Trump was invited. Certainly a good sign of a relationship building between India and the United States. In fact, there are some countries like Afghanistan, Israel, and Saudi Arabia that are sending an all-women delegation. So certainly a huge highlight in terms of the conference. And of course, it is left to be said in the coming days how they will be able to meet up and really forge those relationships. There is an app that they've created to make it easier for entrepreneurs and investors to pitch their ideas and secure funding. So a huge platform, again, for startups and the ecosystem for entrepreneurs, specifically women, to sort of take the next step forward and have more women enter the world of business. In fact, we are outside right now, the convention center, where all the action is happening inside, but I can tell you, a lot of people still outside, a lot of security, and of course, there is a huge amount of women also waiting to get a chance to hopefully see Ivanka Trump.
Sure. Time for a quick question, Archit. So obviously, there's a number of, as you said, more than 50 to 60% of the delegates who've gathered this time around are women. Is the hope also for countries like India, Congo, Turkey, Palestine, that there's going to be a drip-down effect from this, that it's also going to empower women who are part of the small industry in all of these countries?
Absolutely, and I think that's a very essential area, because this is not specifically just to one of the industries. The way they are dividing up this summit is in 4 different areas. One, of course, the digital transactions and financial technology, something that Prime Minister Modi has pushed here in India. But, of course, resonating to the global leaders coming in, there's also healthcare and life sciences, media and entertainment, as well as energy and infrastructure. So 4 key areas that will be the focus. And what they're hoping to do is for these people to take away these ideas, take away what they've learned, build those connections and those networks to make it easier to do business across countries, across continents, and take it back to their home countries and implement some of those strategies and practices. In fact, there's several CEOs, several entrepreneurs who have pitched their ideas and are going to talk about their success strategies and what has worked for them in their respective countries, specifically women. So I think those will be the key takeaway points for those other delegations that are coming in from other parts of the world. Again, 150 countries represented with 1,500 entrepreneurs here over the next 3 days.
Right. Archit, stay with me a second. Just to recap for our viewers who are just joining us this evening, my colleague Archit Seshadri taking us through the finer points of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. It's a mega event spread over 3 days. Live visuals on your screen right now from Hyderabad itself. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi alongside the US President Senior Advisor Ivanka Trump and a businesswoman in her own right, of course, who is expected to get things rolling in Hyderabad at the summit a short while from now. She's checking out some VR at this point, it seems. So lots of different attractions there in Hyderabad. And of course, Ivanka Trump, really speaking, the main attraction is, as Archit, my colleague, was pointing out. Archit, how exactly are people looking at Ms. Trump? I mean, we all know that she is, of course, a senior advisor to the president. She is his daughter. Which of those capacities is she sort of drawing in the crowds as an entrepreneur herself, as an advisor, as a daughter, or as a mother?
Yeah, I think, Aisha, it's going to be a combination of all of the above, certainly resonating with more than just one stratosphere. In fact, she runs a jewelry business. She is an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman, and she is focused on both career as well as family. She often talks about that in many of her different roles and facades. Of course, this is her first time visiting India, so that'll be an integral part in dealing with the experience that she faces and what her observations are. But that being said, absolutely, the fact that India and the United States' relationship will further improve after Modi and Trump's meet is one of the reasons why Ivanka Trump was invited by Prime Minister Modi. And of course, the theme being women first, prosperity for all is certainly another reason. So the fact that the first president's daughter is going to be here is also resonating really well with the crowd. I mean, the sheer volume of people here and the amount of attention, the ads, the posters, the sign, clearly you can tell if you're in Hyderabad, whether you know the summit is happening or not, you will for sure not miss it because there's so much signage, so much advertising for Ivanka Trump. And it's sort of a moment of, excitement because this is the first time they're getting someone like Ivanka Trump to come and speak at this summit. The first time it's in fact being held in Asia, in South Asia specifically. So certainly it's going to be interesting to see how Ivanka Trump is able to address the audience. She's speaking today. She's also going to be presenting at one of the plenary sessions tomorrow as well. So a short trip, but certainly one that will empower women entrepreneurs, one of the key takeaways that Ivanka has mentioned.
Thanks very much for giving us that update. It's time for me to sort of relinquish charge. It's over to my colleague Molly Gambhir. Molly, it's over to you for the rest of the bulletin.
Thanks very much for that, Aisha. Archit Seshadri and Sumit Chaturvedi getting us the very latest from on ground from the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. All eyes on what the key takeaways will be. The United States of America and the Indian government holding the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad from the 28th to the 30th of November. Well, this year's summit essentially focuses on the theme Women First, Prosperity for All, as Archit was also just pointing out. That remains the thrust for most of those key seminars, events and symposiums that have been organized throughout this session. Which essentially focuses on supporting women entrepreneurs and fostering economic growth globally. Advisor to the President of the United States, Ivanka Trump, headlining the United States delegation to the summit. The Global Entrepreneurship Summit is the annual entrepreneurship gathering that convenes emerging entrepreneurs, investors and supporters from across the globe. The summit creates an environment that empowers innovators, particularly women, given that the theme of this year's summit is Women First, Prosperity for All, in order to take their ideas to the next level. through 2.5 days of networking, mentoring and workshops. The Global Entrepreneurship Summit empowers entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas. Apart from that, build partnerships, network, secure funding, innovate and find their target customers. All of that in a matter of 2.5 days. Back-to-back events and seminars that have been squeezed into the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which has seen trailblazers from across the globe converge in Hyderabad for this crucial summit. Our correspondent Archit Chaudhary has been tracking the very latest, is now joining us live on the broadcast for more on that. Archit, what's the buzz? As we've been discussing all along, all eyes on what the key takeaways will be. What are you gathering at this point from where you are?
Absolutely. You know, one of the most important takeaways for this is certainly the topic of women empowerment and really encouraging women entrepreneurs to really get into the mode of opening, starting and running a successful business. That's one of the reasons Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited Ivanka Trump earlier on when he met U.S. President Donald Trump for the first time back in the White House this summer. And of course, Ivanka Trump accepted that invitation and for the first time visiting India inside the Hyderabad Convention Center as we speak. Of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurating the conference. This is the first time it is being held in India, the 8th annual summit. And one of the key takeaways is, again, the ease of doing business, finding ways to remove the challenges, the obstacles. So there is a host of CEOs, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and investors who are going to share their best practices and also talk about how easy and how difficult it's going to be, hearing their lessons learned, their success strategies, and of course Ivanka Trump as well, inspiring and encouraging many of the entrepreneurs, specifically women, which of course is also this year's theme, Women First, Prosperity for All.
Right, and Archit, important to highlight here, the first time that the GES is being held in South Asia, and the event highlighting India's enabling environment, also the significance of the location Hyderabad being the startup hub, being the IT hub of the country.
Absolutely. That's a very key point as well. The fact that India was selected to host the 8th annual Global Entrepreneurship Summit. It's been held in many other parts of the world. It has been held in Asia before, but the first time in South Asia. Many other cities around the world have played host to it, including Istanbul, Washington, D.C., Kuala Lumpur, and Marrakesh. And of course, Hyderabad being a key IT city, a key startup ecosystem, certainly one of the reasons this was picked. And of course, if you are driving in around Hyderabad, there is no way that you will miss the fact that the Global Entrepreneurship Summit is here. You see signs saying the Telangana government is welcoming Ivanka Trump. It is welcoming Prime Minister Modi, and there are signs, posters, symbols all over the city, and a beautification project to really make the investors, the entrepreneurs, and the foreigners feel welcome and at home here. And this venue where we are at, it is a huge, huge site. There is an abundance of security, not only here right outside of the summit area, but also at the front, a huge line of media as well. And again, for the next 2.5 days, key areas that will be addressed: energy and infrastructure, digital and financial technologies, media and entertainment, and of course, there's also going to be healthcare and life sciences. So these are the 4 areas I'm going to focus on through panels, workshops, and all that. So it is going to be an action-packed 2 days. Ivanka Trump will speak not only today, she'll also be speaking at one of the morning plenary sessions tomorrow about the ease of doing business and the role that women play when it comes to the world of business.
And taking a cue from that, Archit, what's the rest of the day looking like for Ivanka Trump, the advisor to the U.S. president?
Absolutely. One of the key the things that's going to happen today after all of this takes place, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, inaugurating this ceremony, there's going to be a dinner later on with Ivanka Trump and the delegation. What we also are understanding from reports saying that this delegation is a little bit smaller than what was originally planned because of Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Not as many people from the United States coming, but of course, this is something that is key to Ivanka Trump. She is an entrepreneur. She runs her own business. She's a wife. She's a daughter. She's a mother. So certainly we can expect to hear her talk about her challenges and what all she has faced through as she sort of integrates and weaves all these different areas. And we are certainly seeing a lot of women here who hope to be inspired and leave empowered from Ivanka Trump's speech and words, and of course the rest of the other entrepreneurs, 1,500 or so entrepreneurs from around the world, from 150 different countries.
So it's also a huge opportunity for all of them, Archit, all 1,500 and more of entrepreneurs who've converged at the location to network, also to secure funding, as has been the case each time with the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. Trailblazers meeting, networking and finding resonance with the kind of opportunities that each entrepreneur shares and perhaps the challenges that they tackle.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the key takeaways. But they also wanted to point it out, this is not specifically for investors to come and invest in India, but it's a way for all of these people who are here to really connect, to really network and learn and build those mentor-mentee relationships, build those contacts, so when they leave and go back to their respective home countries, they can sort of absorb that knowledge and those lessons learned from the other successful entrepreneurs who've carved a niche for themselves in whatever industry or area that they have successfully managed to do so, those entrepreneurs, and take that away. So it is really for them to pitch their ideas, to talk about and network with other colleagues in different cities and different countries. So it is not specifically to secure funding. Certainly those conversations may take place. There's also a pitch competition, mentoring sessions, master classes, but it is sort of a wholesome approach to learn from all of those other different people who have learned and perhaps failed and their roads to success.
Right, Archit, and also as you've been getting us up to speed with the kind of engagements that Ivanka Trump has, will there be an opportunity for each of those entrepreneurs to interact face-to-face, one-on-one with the advisor to the U.S. president?
I think that is a great question. That is $1 million question. A lot of people here have come to see Ivanka Trump. They've been very tight-lipped about the security, given what is going on. In fact, even her schedule was posted very, very recently. They're being tight-lipped about her day-to-day activities and where she will be going. Understandably, there is a lot of security surrounding Ivanka Trump and her tracking her location, given that this is also part of the U.S. delegation. So at this point, we know she's speaking today. She's also speaking tomorrow, but in terms of one-on-one mentorship, so network, at least for the public, those details have not been shared with us just yet.
Right, just hold that thought there, Archit. We'll just come back to you. Let's also take a continuing look at the latest coming in from the venue.
On the first two rows, they would leave because they would be having bilaterals and other meetings, and thereafter the rows 3 to 9. So those who are seated in the first part closer to the stage, then they would leave from the right and the left respectively. So just to repeat, all the guests seated on the first two rows, which are the white sofas, they would leave the hall, and thereafter, row by row, you are requested to exit from this auditorium. So kindly cooperate with us, otherwise we will have a little blockage at the gates. Thank you.
The United States of America and the Indian government holding the 8th Annual Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. The theme for this year's summit is Women First, Prosperity for All, which tells you that the major focus area for all of those events and seminars that have been squeezed into the 2.5-day-long event, focusing on supporting women entrepreneurs and fostering economic growth globally. Advisor to the U.S. President Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump, headlining the U.S. delegation to the summit, as our correspondents on the ground have been getting us the very latest. Remains to be seen if each of those 1,500 entrepreneurs who've converged in Hyderabad will have that privilege, that opportunity to interact one-on-one with the advisor to the U.S. President Donald Trump. US President Donald Trump's advisor Ivanka Trump, joined by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This, of course, is a crucial summit also given that it's the first time that it's being hosted in South Asia. And the significance of the location, Hyderabad, the capital of the state of Telangana, which is home to the IT hub, to the startup hub. It's India's largest startup incubator, has a robust startup ecosystem, also has a presence of major US tech firms and supportive government policies in place to facilitate emerging entrepreneurs, and which is the reason why Hyderabad was chosen for this year's Global Entrepreneurship Summit, the first time it's being held in South Asia. Over the next 2.5 days, women entrepreneurs, as many as 1,500, will have the opportunity to pitch their ideas, build partnerships, secure funding, innovate and find their target customers. The Global Entrepreneurship Summit serving as a vital link between governments and the private sector, convening global participants to showcase their projects, exchange ideas and champion new opportunities for investment. Important to highlight here that relationships formed at past Global Entrepreneurship Summits have transcended industries and sectors and have successfully transformed ideas into enterprises. As far as the participants of this year's summit are concerned, they have representation from every region of the world. 1,500, to say the least, entrepreneurs have converged for this crucial summit. These entrepreneurs represent a diverse range of geographies, industries, business size, scalability. Investors and representatives from organizations that support entrepreneurs will be handpicked to catalyze investment, networking, mentoring and hands-on activities as well. And like we pointed out, there will be special emphasis on women entrepreneurs and the role they play in making communities more prosperous and secure through enterprise, which, as the theme Women First, Prosperity for All suggests, the event focuses on supporting women entrepreneurs and fostering economic growth globally. Advisor to the US President Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump, being escorted by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is the first time that the Global Entrepreneurship Summit is being hosted in South Asia. A huge opportunity for entrepreneurs, as many as 1,500 who have converged in India's startup hub, Hyderabad, to network, also to pitch ideas, build partnerships, secure funding and find their target customers. Relationships formed at past Global Entrepreneurship Summits have also transcended industries and successfully transformed ideas into enterprises.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Ms. Ivanka Trump, advisor to the President of the United States of America. Governor of Telangana, Shri E.S.L. Narasimhan. Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Srimati Sushma Swaraj, Honorable Minister for External Affairs. And our Raksha Mantri, Minister of Defense, Srimati Nirmala Sitaraman.